Hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with another The Hunter Call of the Wild video. Now today's video is only again going to be a short one, but it is an update to my previous video about where are all my animals going. Now you guys will have seen the footage that I shared in that video about the fact that a lot of my animals seem to just have been disappearing off my map and just not respawning correctly, and I was having all kinds of weird issues. Well, this is one of those spots where I had basically only 10 animals left, and now, after doing a reset, because I did bite the bullet and do that population reset, as you guys will see, my map is now once again looking much more full. There's brand new need zones where I had just lost need zones that weren't coming back, and it's just made an incredible difference. Honestly, I did not realise how underpopulated and how weird my maps were until I did the population reset the other day. And I was very much on the fence in the last video where I talked about this, about doing a population reset, because as I mentioned, it's kind of frowned upon to do a population reset. A lot of people don't like doing it or don't agree with doing it because it can be exploited very, very easily. But in a case like mine where you're having a very clear issue, obviously then it's, you know, being used to fix something, so not necessarily a bad thing to do. And in my case, it definitely was a good thing to do because, like I said, it has made a world of difference. And there was areas that I didn't realise were so weird and so underpopulated until I did this. And it's like night and day difference. It's so incredibly noticeable, and we're going to take a look at a few examples on a couple of different maps of various places where I talked about I was having issues that have now been completely fixed since I did that reset. I'm also going to show you guys the response I got from EW yesterday. And after reading that response, I'm very glad that I did go ahead and do the reset, because it didn't give me any other options or any other hope really of fixing this issue that I was having. And like I said, I will show you guys that in a moment. We also got this really, really weird guy as an initial spawn from that reset, which is one of the weirdest looking level 4 goats I've ever seen. He's got like one big horn and like one small horn, and I'm definitely gonna shoot him and have him in probably a highlights video, because he's a really interesting looking one. But I still feel kind of bad for having to do this reset, but clearly something was very, very broken, and yeah, my maps are just completely different now, and they're just back to what they were when I started playing on this PC account over a year ago. So this was the reply I got from EW last night. Hello Melanie, thank you for your email. There is a population reset in our latest patch. That might play a role there. That said, please be aware manually deleting or modifying population files is at your own risk. I will share your message with the team for their consideration. Sorry for the inconvenience. Now, I sent them quite a long email detailing all the problems I was having, kind of explaining that there was really something weird going on, that I had found all the need zones, I've checked all the areas, I've gone through my map with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm still not finding those animals that seem to have just gone. And that was kind of the only response I got, and I asked if it was okay to do a population reset, and I kind of didn't really get any reassurance on that it wouldn't be kind of looked down upon by them, and that it was okay and acceptable to do so, which was a big shame. But this particular lake here, as you guys will have seen when I spawned in, was one of the lakes on Medved that I was talking about, where after grinding all the animals here, they just never came back. They never ever came back to this spot, even with like managing it with a tripod. There's a tripod right there, as you guys can see. Once I'd shot like the herd of reindeer that was here and the bears that were here, I never got any respawns back in this area. And after doing the population reset, you guys can see how many animals there are. There was absolutely no animals here. There was 0 animals, which, when this is one of the best hotspots on Medved, this particular little lake here, it was really, really bizarre, and I couldn't work out why I was missing all the animals from this location, because they didn't seem to be going to any of the nearby lakes that I was then looking for them. You know, I checked everywhere for their drink zones. Same with this little hidden lake here. Again, I killed all the reindeer here, and there was nothing ever came back. And then after doing the reset, I came back here, and there was 2 herds of reindeer. So once again, just like a completely different look, because these animals just weren't here before I ended up doing that reset. And it makes me feel a whole lot better because it makes me know that there was definitely something a little bit broken somewhere. And from that email, I guess that maybe the population redistributions and the sort of population resets that they've been doing with previous updates, because of like improving the fur quality and stuff, that maybe it corrupted something in the population file. I really don't know. I'm not a technical person when it comes to how files work and how updates can affect things like that. All I know is I didn't have animals in these locations anymore, and I wasn't finding them anywhere else. And, you know, I'm a very thorough person. I check and hunt all my need zones for animals. I don't just hunt a select few. I will hunt all the need zones I can find for a species when I'm grinding them, and I will look everywhere. And yeah, I wasn't finding those animals anywhere, because that was a thing that got brought up by several people, was, oh, you're just not finding all your need zones. And I was like, I spend literally hours of my life going through every spot you can think of, top to bottom of the map, left to right. I'll go through as thoroughly as I possibly can, wherever there's water, wherever. I'll just try and find need zones. And especially with drink zones, it's quite obvious when something's not quite right, because obviously with drink zones, animals can only drink where there's water. And if you're not finding those drink zones anywhere, then you can notice that there's something wrong. And as you guys can see, like just from here, this was one of the lakes where I used to have a ton of male bobcats. This is one of my favourite bobcat locations, because this lake has normally only male bobcats. So I hit it up in multiplayer looking for rares, and I check it, and there was just nothing left on this lake. No male bobcats, no bobcats at all. And then I spawn in at this tent to come in and check after doing the reset. Boom, brand new feed zone, and it's from a male. And I was like, okay, already something's changed, something's working for the better. Like, I even discovered, which I haven't seen a lot of people talking about, that the bobcats will actually drink along the bottom of the map. There's actually a feed zone there right on the sort of coast at the very, very bottom of the map. And there was actually a couple of drink zones along there, but I ended up with one, and they weren't even showing up to that one anymore. All of the need zones that you could see on the map had no animals actually showing up to them. And that's when I really noticed that there was some kind of problem. And I do, of course, there mean the drinking need zones around this lake for the bobcats. Those need zones had no animals actually showing up to them. It said there was Mexican bobcats drinking there. There was no Mexican bobcats drinking there. And this was happening at more than just this lake, more than just this location, and on more than just this map. As I said, I had it happening with, you know, sika deer, feral goats, reindeer. I was having it with eastern turkeys in their zones on Mississippi. So even on the new map, I was having issues. But, like, I ran down here and I'm getting a male bobcat warning call. I was not getting any warning calls or any bobcats here previous to doing this reset since probably Rancho released and I was playing it on PC, and I basically did start a grind for some bobcats, and I noticed that there was something not quite right. They weren't respawning, so I tried going to a different grind, and then I noticed that that problem was becoming more of a trend, and that's when I made that video the other day and actually talked about it. And I do really want to say thank you to everyone who also commented on that video sharing their experiences, and everyone that gave me that support and said you are more than within, you know, you're within your rights, you're not trying to cheat the system or anything, you're doing a population reset to try and fix a problem. Because I like to pride myself on that I'm a very honest person, and I would rather tell you guys, hey, I'm having a problem, so I might need to do this thing that some people don't really like, but I might have to do it to try and fix my game, and that's why I'm doing it. And I'd rather share that information with you guys so that you know that that's why I've had to do it and that's what I've done. And I think it was really interesting for me to see so many people telling me that they were having similar issues. It kind of made me feel a little bit less insane, because I was thinking, gosh, am I just not doing something right? You know, and it kind of was a little bit concerning for me. I was like, okay, why am I not finding these animals? What am I doing wrong? But I would go into multiplayer, I'd go to the same places and do all the same things, and I was finding so many more animals, and my maps just felt like completely barren. And this has just completely fixed the issue from what I can see. Now, the question is, what happens if I start grinding again? What if I shoot all these bobcats that I see here? Is the problem going to just happen again? And there's not going to be any more bobcats that show up here? And they're not going to show up somewhere else on the map where they can drink? You know, what's going to happen there? So I'm kind of in two minds about whether to start grinding like certain species or what to do. I might sort of do a series and keep grinding like one species and keep tabs on it and see if I can like find out what's causing the problem. But at the moment I don't know. I was just holding back, waiting to get this footage out and show you guys that it did work, so there genuinely was a problem. And one of the other species where it was incredibly noticeable was with the seeker deer. I had no bachelor groups of seeker deer drinking along the coasts or the river, or I had like one group of a couple that were mixed in with hinds, sometimes drinking in the forest, but nowhere near the amount of bachelor groups that you would normally see on a map. As soon as I did this reset, I had bachelor groups of seeker again. And as you guys can see, there's bachelor groups. You couldn't see, there was no groups like this before I did the reset. They just had disappeared. Because obviously I would shoot them to try and get respawns, and then they just weren't coming back. It was actually insane. And this was one of the spots I showed you guys in a multiplayer session where I actually shot a level 5, and yeah, I've got male seeker deer here now. They're a bit spread out, but that's completely normal. Every map's going to be different as to where the animals are exactly distributed. But going through and just checking all my need zones, and there was more stags than I'd ever see in a single run. Like, just more and more stags. I couldn't believe how many seeker stags I was actually seeing. It just felt completely different. Like here, it was 99% hinds, and there was just stags when I came and checked here, bachelor groups of stags, which is what my map was like in the beginning. And I had noticed that it was just becoming more and more just groups of hinds everywhere. And then I do this reset, and then now there's stags everywhere again. And it's really, really, really nice to see. And it's just made me feel better, because it made me know that doing the reset was the right thing to do, because it's clearly fixed whatever issue there was, because now my maps don't feel like they did before. And I hope by sharing this video, you guys can see that I wasn't just not finding the zones, because it's just completely night and day difference. And it's really hard to actually show it in a video, because obviously I can't show you guys going through the entire map for all of the maps before and after. It's just physically impossible unless I upload like hours and hours and hours and hours of footage. So I hope by the snippets that I've shown you guys and, talking to you through the video, that you can see what kind of difference it's actually made. And I'm really glad I did do it. And I kind of wish that EW had asked for a save file to look at, which I would have happily provided, or maybe gave me some other way of maybe trying to fix it, like saying, hey, can we take a look at your population file? If you can hang in there, we'll see if there's a fix and if there's something wrong. Because I sent them quite a long email with like as much detail as I possibly could provide, which is what they asked for. And it was quite a short response, and when in the email I had said, I have been told by several people that normally you recommend doing a population reset for this kind of issue. Is that the right course of action? I'm trying to do everything by the book, because that's the kind of person I am. And all I got was, doing a population reset is at your own risk. And it kind of didn't tell me whether that was the right thing to do or not, which was a bit of a shame. But I still want to say, if you did mention in my previous video, in the comments, if you said that you were having one of these kind of issues, please do send them a support ticket and let them know, because I don't think that it's a widely known about issue at the moment. I think it's a lot of people like me who are a bit like, there's something not quite right here, but is it just me? Is it just me not being able to do this properly anymore? Is it me going crazy? So I do really highly recommend sending them a support ticket, just letting them know your experience. And I will link their support website and their support contact information in the description of this video. So if you're looking for a way to contact the support for EW and let them know about these issues that you also may be having, then you can just follow that link and the stuff in the description, and you will be able to then report your own issues or whatever you're having with your game. So hopefully that will be helpful, not only for any of us that are having issues, but also for EW, to help them actually be able to fix things. Because of course, if people don't report the problem and, maybe only one person says they're having this issue, and it's actually a lot of people having the issue, then maybe it won't get looked into as much as if a lot of people say, hey, we're having this issue. Maybe it's something that's a bit more widespread, and then maybe it goes up in, like, importance of bug fixes and stuff. So it's always useful the more people that report something, because it also gives EW, like, a better idea of what's going on. So I still do recommend doing that. Like I said, if you can, it would be really, really appreciated, I think, from anyone like me that was having this kind of problem. So I now get to go through all my own maps again with a fine-tooth comb, looking for new need zones and checking out basically what the population reset has changed on all the different maps. It's going to be really interesting because, like I said, I didn't notice that I had significantly less fallow deer than I think I was meant to on Te Arawara, because after the reset, there was fallow deer coming out of the woodwork in such numbers that I didn't really know I should have had. And then there was just suddenly all these fallow deer, and I was like, wow, since when did Tay have this many fallow lurking in these places? Because they weren't there on my map before. So it's going to be really interesting, like I said, and at least that means I don't have to go into multiplayer for a bit, because I'm going to have my own maps to go through again. But that's basically going to be it for this video, guys. I hope it has been interesting. Like I said, I'll leave those links for all of the support stuff down in the description, and I do highly recommend leaving a report for any bugs that you are encountering. Thank you again for all of the comments and all of the support. I really do appreciate it. I'm a very anxious person, so when it comes to doing something like a reset where, you know, some people might not agree with it, some people might disapprove, I am always, like, extra cautious. It just is in my nature. I always want to play everything I play as legit as possible, and I don't want to ever, you know, do something that isn't the right thing to do. But in this case, I really do think that the population reset was the right thing to do. As you guys can see from the clips that I've shared, hopefully, it really has fixed the issues I was having, so that's a really, really positive outcome. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.